welcome to Next Level Life. I believe this teaching we're about to bring you is going to help you achieve the goals, the dreams, the visions that you have. And we're going to talk about improving your thought life. We're going to teach you about how to cast a vision out for your life. Lots of great things you're going to be taught. So make sure you watch and tune in at the close for more information. Let's go now and watch this teaching.
We are glad that you're here. We are getting ready to get into a topic tonight that I think is going to help a lot of people. And I'm excited about it. And the first week we talked about how we change our thinking. And I told you that that was going to be paramount to everything else that happened, because if you're not able to renew your thinking, all this other probably isn't going to work very well for you. And people have already been talking about how it's been affecting them and their jobs and careers and what God's been doing in their home. And so the second week, last week, we talked about creating vision boards and how important it is to write the vision and make it plain. And I see some of you brought your vision boards, it looks like. How many of you have started your vision boards? Raise your hand. All right, that's good. Many of you have done that. If you haven't, I encourage you to go ahead and get that vision board bought. It's very, very important that you do that. And so tonight, I met through some of our folks here, a lady named Jan Van Zant, who is going to come in just a moment. And she is a lady that is going to teach us how to declutter not just our homes, but as we raise our thinking, how we declutter our lives. And people may say, well, why is that important? Why would you teach that in a next level life? And here's the reason. Because for years, I have believed that when you raise your thinking, which is the first thing we taught you, when you raise your thinking level to another level, you can't live without excellence in your life. And a decluttered house, or a decluttered car, or office space isn't excellence in itself, it's the fruit of excellence. It's the reward that you operate in excellence. And it is important, and I'm going to share some of this in a little bit, that it's important that you recognize this, because in your thinking, when you have a clear environment around you and a clean environment, it is amazing what that can do for your peace of mind. Somebody should have said amen, or oh me, or something. I remember, I'll tell this story and then I'm going to turn it over to Jan. Many years ago, probably not long after I'd come here, there's a young man that had been associated with our ministry for several years, and I had ridden with him to a couple of places and all that, and he came to me not long after that, and he said, Pastor, I really feel a call to the ministry. I really feel like I'm supposed to do some great things, and what would you tell me to do first? Tell me what I ought to be doing first. I said, here's what you need to do. You need to go today, and you need to clean out your car and get all those McDonald's bags and milkshake cups out of your back seat. Because if you want to be associated with excellence, if you want to see that happen in your life, I couldn't ever send you to the airport to pick up our guest speaker so you could be around greatness, and he has to scooch over all the McDonald's bags to get in your back seat. And he learned that lesson, and today he's actually living a very good life in another state. He's moved away, but it's just that important is my point, that you're shifting the way you think. And so that's why tonight is important that you get this. Several of you already know Jan. She enjoys teaching people how to eliminate unused and unneeded items that are cluttering their home and or workspace. That does not include your husband, ladies. She's learned an assortment of methods from reading books by professional organizers, doing research on the subject of clutter, its negative effects on our lives, and letting go of over 90% of her stuff when she moved out of state several years ago. She's here to share with us how to declutter, get organized, be more productive, and help us live the next level life. So for the next few minutes, let's welcome Jan Van Zant. Here you are, man. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, welcome everybody. We had an opportunity to meet a few months ago and talk about this, and I kept waiting for that phone call. Come meet us. Come talk to us. So, do want to thank Darlita and Elita for the introduction, and I've met some of you as you've come in tonight, and I want to say welcome to all of you. I hope that you leave here with some gifts that will not clutter your life, but they're gifts nonetheless. So, declutter your life, and you can increase your productivity. If you declutter, you can make room for a better life. Let's get started.
That's good.
So, clutter, it's a noun. It's the definition, a collection of things lying about in an untidy mass or mess. And if you look up here on clutter, I don't know if you can see it, but it can't find it. There's no space. You get frustrated. My favorite one up here is chaos. C-H-A-O-S. Can't have anybody over syndrome. So first, I'm going to talk to you. We live in the greatest country in the world, and we've been blessed with an abundance. Now, there comes a point sometimes where that may become a burden. I'm here to teach you tonight how to unburden, but I'm going to talk to you first about the numbers, okay? Stuff by the numbers. Do we really need more? And by the way, just so you know, I can continue to give this presentation because my own ears need to hear this. Also, if you want to take notes tonight, that's great. If you'll notice, I didn't do any presentation slides because that would be more clutter. And more than likely, it would be difficult for you to find it when you wanted to go show it to somebody. This is available, not only the video, but also the PowerPoint presentation. I've made that available. Share it, bring me in. If you need friends and family want to gather, we can talk about this again. So let's get started with the numbers. From 1950 to 2000, the American home more than doubled in size. So it went from an average of around 1,000 square feet up to 2,200 square feet. But we weren't finished growing yet. No, see, today the average U.S. home is 2,700 square feet and contains more than 300,000 items. Yeah, told you it was a lot of numbers. 25% of the homes in the U.S. today with a two-car garage can't park at least one or both of them in there. So we go out, we get this nice car, and we keep it all clean and shiny like your friend, Pastor Steve. And all of a sudden, this is a big investment, what you get to work, what you get to church in. So how do we treat it? We sit it outside while the garage is protecting, storing our stuff. Now, I did this for a financial planner a while back, and what I talked about this is oftentimes we don't look at the value of things. We don't value our time sometimes, but you know what you paid for your car. Guesstimate what the cost of the stuff is that is in your garage, and tell me which one's greater and which one you're treating better. This astounded me when I did the research on this. There's approximately 48,000 self-storage facilities in this country. That's the facility. Each facility averages about 500 units. So I've already done the math for you. That's 24 million individual storage units just in the U.S. And I will let you know, it's at least a 20 billion with a B dollar industry, and it's on this kind of projection. If you've driven around town, used to be you didn't see storage units, they were off the beaten path. They are now in prime real estate. They're right out there on road frontage. Folks, what are we doing? Another way to compute this is self-storage facilities outnumber the number of McDonald's or the number of Starbucks nearly 4 to 1. So the next time you pass a Starbucks or a McDonald's, envision 4 storage facilities, not units, but facilities, for every time you see one of these. This is an average storage unit, about a 10 by 20, about the size of a bedroom, small bedroom. Average rent's around $100 a month. It depends on what part of the country you're in, whether it's climate controlled. There are a number of variables, but we'll just go with $100 a month. So you can do the math really, really quick. Every year, that's $1,200. Okay? And a lot of times, they're in there, that stuff's in there for multiple years. Go and pull the door open and look at that stuff and go, what is this really worth to me? But here are a few more numbers. Nearly 10% of the American household, remember, they've already outgrown the house, got a bigger house, outgrown the garage. Now they're into storage units. 65% of the self-storage renters have a garage. 47% of the self-storage renters have an attic. And 33% of self-storage renters have a basement. I also want to talk to you briefly about some technology clutter. Technology is wonderful. We love it. We're experiencing it tonight. And I'm not here to put it down, but to put it into perspective. Now, you may not be able to see this number. It seems exaggerated at 99,999 unread emails. That is not a picture of mine. But I have to tell you, I recently met a friend who had more than that. Literally, when she showed me her phone, I was dumbfounded. So, most Americans today own at least 8 digital devices. I've got 2 cell phones, one for work, one for home. Same thing with computer laptops. I've got a little Fire Pad. MP3 players, it goes on and on. This is the average, 8. Okay, if you can't tell because of the lighting, this is a house that somebody loves books, okay? So this is a case where technology could help you because you can turn that into this, okay? So can you imagine this all cleaned up into one tidy little piece of technology? So use technology for your advantage, just don't totally rely on it. And don't dismiss the people that are right in front of you. Right. I've had so many times where I'm in a meeting and somebody pulls their cell phone out because we just think we've got to check that urgent text message, and it's an LOL, and that could have waited. We're divesting our energy in some areas that we need to really assess. Okay, these are some of the more popular social media sites, and they're all great. How many of you are on more than one of these? How many of you that are on at least 3 of these? 4? 5? All of them. Are you on all of them? All right. This is why your husband said come tonight. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this, but how many different ways do we need to say hi? Okay? You might be doing all kinds of different things with it. I am not here to judge tonight. I am just here to put things into perspective, and you make the judgment on what works for you. These are the categories of social media sites and social networking sites. Within these categories are at least 250 sites, individual sites. So you're still good if you're only at 6 or 7, okay? But does it tell you how connected we are and that we're looking at a lot of screens instead of a lot of beautiful faces? So clutter isn't just in your home, your attic, your garage, your office. It's also in your mind. Talk to Jim when he came in. He's talking about lots of clutter in the mind. I can tell you this. It doesn't matter if it's in a storage unit. Out of sight is not out of mind when it comes to clutter, okay? Not only that, it distracts you from the amazing things that you were sent to this earth to do. I know, I'm starting to preach, right? That was not my quote. I always pay credit to the quote, but the message, I think, is very clear and succinct. So this is your brain on clutter. I mean, literally, how many times do we have multiple things going on? And then we're driving and there's billboard, we got the radio on, any number of things. But we are trying to multitask. And honestly, our brains were not built to multitask. They really weren't. But this is overload, okay? They've done MRI studies on clutter in the brain, and it causes stress. Imagine that. Can you imagine today, if you lost your phone, you'd be stressed, okay? But if you just eliminated one of your networking sites. Throw the challenge out there to you, Dee. But what I'm saying is that it's in small increments. Donald and I talked before we got started here tonight, and I just told him it is about incremental changes. Small steps, and that's what I'm going to teach you tonight. You're going to leave here with a gift tonight that you can do in a really short period of time to get started. So this is your brain on clutter. But this is what your brain really loves: peace and order, serenity, focused on one thing at a time, one person at a time. So I've got a series of whys, okay? These are some of the most common whys. Why we won't let it go. You know, I spent so much money on this, I can't let this go. How many, you don't need to raise your hands. You know somebody that has said that. But let me just explain to you briefly. You've already spent that money. It's gone. Now, holding on to it, what's it costing you? Is it in that storage unit? Always in the mind. Plus, we don't really buy things with money. We buy them with hours of our life. Another why. Say I'm going to lose weight, so you're hanging on to 3 different wardrobes, okay? Like I said, not a judgment call here at all. No, it's really not.
Get it up, you know it.
Here's the thing. If you declare you're going to lose weight to get into one of those wardrobes, I believe that you will do it if you truly declare it and set that goal. I also believe that you're not going to want to wear most of those clothes. You're going to want to go out and buy something new and fresh to show it off, okay? So let it go. That's a common theme. Let it go, let it go, let it go. I know I don't sing and I don't know the Frozen movie, but I do know about letting it go. All right, so it's okay to let it go because you can go shopping and buy new clothes. I'm not here to tell you not to go shopping, not to buy, but to do it in a more conscious mindset. Why you say you can't let it go? Oh, this is my favorite. I got it as a gift, and I have to keep it. I want to ask for a raise of hands, but I've already heard some giggles, okay? So this isn't from any research. This is from my heart. This is what I gathered when I was putting this together. We do not need to carry around gift guilt. So tonight, I'm going to teach you how to let that go. If nothing else tonight, there will be lifted from you the gift guilt burden. And that is simply this. If I give you a gift, the exchange was truly the gift. The passion, the thought, the courtesy. Now don't get me wrong, you might really like it, keep it forever. But if you really like it and you only need it for a day, a month, a decade, it's okay to let it go. Because if the person comes to you and says, what did you do with what I gave you? You said, I had my time with it, and I passed it on to someone else who could get benefit from it and enjoy it like I did.
Amen.
And if they say anything to argue about that, then it was never a gift to begin with.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
It's the gift of giving. It truly comes from the heart. Okay, why you say you can't let it go? Oh, I need to keep this just in case, or because I might need it someday. Can you find it when that someday might come? You know, there's a lot of variables. Someday, might, okay? Let it go. I have a friend who her husband passed, and she was purging the garage, came up with 7 snow shovels. And no, they don't live on the East Coast. They live right here in Louisville. I don't know how he came to amass 7 snow shovels. What I'm going to assume is that he was out and it was either a good deal, or it was a different color or a different shape, or it might do something different. I'm not passing judgment again, but the might need it someday. He might not have been able to find it when he needed it. It could be in the store. Okay, it's in the storage. Yeah. Let's clean up this garage. Let's put the snow shovel in the storage unit. And not only that, but just because something made you happy in your past doesn't mean you have to keep it forever. You really don't. What's my saying? Let it go. Let it go. So let's get started today. I'm going to teach you, because what I have found for my own self and talking to other people, the hardest part's getting started. Okay? Because we look at something that we've been avoiding for a little bit, or maybe for a long time, and we think we have to tackle it all at once. I'm going to teach you some 15-minute and some 30-minute exercises that you can do. This is not physical exercise, okay? These are exercises you can take home tonight. As a matter of fact, I'm going to challenge you to take this home tonight and tell yourself right here, right now, internally, I can commit to 15 minutes tonight of letting something go. And so I'm going to give you a couple of quick purges. One thing is, I read this a while back, and it said, it's talking about being in your closet. You hold one item up at a time and you say, you know, if I were shopping again today, would I buy this? So look at that item. You've got to separate it. Don't look at the whole room. Don't look at the whole project. Look at one item at a time, and you can run it through that filter. Another filter could be, you know what, if I were to lose this, would I spend good money to replace it? That might let you know that you're finished with it. Is there someone else that can make better use of that wardrobe that I rarely or never use? You know, it's just amazing when you try some of these filters on an item, how quickly you can make that determination. And you may keep it. You move on to the next item. Also, if you were moving to a new home, and let's just say you decided to not move up, but you moved to a smaller home, you know, would this go with me? And if you put it in that perspective, you don't really even have to move. Just use that question when you're looking at an item. I wouldn't take this to my next house. Then why is it in this house?
That's good.
Also, these are a little bit longer. It's a couple of beat the clock games. This is something you can do tonight. Go home, set the timer. I would encourage at least 15 minutes, okay? But you can do it for 5. And you do a quick purge. Maybe you grab a box and you walk through the house, different rooms, different things that are just right on the surface that you don't want anymore. Put them in that box, okay? When the timer goes off, you played a game. How many items did you have in the box? And since you didn't want them anymore, guess what? They're ready to go out to the car to be dropped off at the donation charity of your choice. I've done this several years in a row with an accountability partner. Challenge an accountability partner. I've done it on Labor Day weekend. For some reason, we've picked that weekend to labor, and it's an extra day. So it gives us a little bit of leeway, okay? And we each declare a project that we want to do in our home. And it doesn't have to be big. You know, one year my friend wanted to clean off one shelf in her bathroom closet. And whenever she finished her project, she would text me. Or whoever finished first texted. That is an accountability partner, because now you know that they've done it. you better get on the ball, because when she did that on a Sunday and I hadn't done mine yet, it encouraged me to get up, because I wanted to be successful for that weekend as well, because we had made a commitment, a pact. You're sitting in the doctor's office, the waiting room. That's the time. Go ahead, pull your phone out then. Start purging those emails. Or if you've been saving articles, go ahead and read that article, and then you can hit delete. You're thinking, oh, it's only one or two at a time. I got an email from my friend that has the 6 digits of unread emails. She declared to me before Christmas that was one of her projects. And she hasn't given me a number count lately, but just today she emailed me on something else and said, I thought about you the other day because I'm still deleting. Okay? One step at a time. And then this is what I did. It's called the 30-minute sitcom challenge. I love to watch sitcoms. They run in 30-minute increments. So I said, I could watch this show and clean out a box at the same time. That's not really multitasking. I mean, it sounds like I'm not trying to be contradictory here, but quite frankly, you don't need to put your full attention on the sitcom. You can hear it, and you can work on this box. So you set that goal. I get to watch this show, and while I do that, I'm going to be productive. At the end of the 30 minutes, no matter where you're at in that project, when the show goes off, you can put the lid back on the box, and whatever you accomplished, you're that much further ahead. You set a goal, you reached it. You need to reward yourself, saying, great job. There are feel-good endorphins that our brain releases when we do these kind of activities. Now, I have a 1,200 square foot unfinished basement, and it was full. And I was moving across the country, and that stuff wasn't moving with me. I had little paths, literally, that I could walk through. And because, remember, it was unfinished, the stairs were in the middle of the basement. I would go down the steps, I would do a 360, go right back up those steps. I was overwhelmed. So I was like, I'm moving, and this isn't going with me. It's got to get out of this house. You can take the third sitcom because the hardest part's getting started. A lot of times I go, I could watch another sitcom, go get another box. What I did is I went down to the basement and got it out of its overwhelming environment, got it upstairs where I could focus just on that box. And I will let you know, through a lot of 30 minutes and also multi-hour projects, I did clean out that basement. This is really hard to see, so I'm going to read it to you. Have you ever heard how to eat an elephant? That's all I'm advocating today. Break it down, whatever it takes. Break it down to the smallest part that you can handle. Your friend might be able to do a whole room. You might be able to do a whole drawer. Don't compare yourself. Do what you said you were going to do and enjoy the beauty of that. Go for the small wins. Call them wins. They are wins. When I finished that box, that was a win. Take before and after photos as you declutter. And and if it's a really big project, take during. I'm going to tell you why. You can put them in a life book, also known as a scrapbook, okay? But you are going to be amazed at what you started with and what you finished with. And the best way to do that is the visual proof in pictures, and then, of course, every time you open the closet door. The Roy G. Biv, that's the rainbow. One way you can do a closet is to organize your items by color. Depending on the size of your closet, it could be a 30-minute visit. That's when you just have to bring one of those pieces of technology and have your 30-minute sitcom on a small screen. Whatever it takes to motivate you, put on an upbeat music and go at it. But when you get it aligned like this, when you open those doors the next time, The organization of the color will be a peaceful. Remember I told you, remember we saw that picture of the brain loves peace and serenity, as opposed to all the clutter. I've done this before, and I looked at my closet today, and I was like, I'm going to confess tonight, folks. I have let my closet get out of the Roy G. Biv. Now, I do mine white, cream, yellow, pink, whatever, but whatever system works for you. All your short sleeve tops together, but then color code them. You know, all your long sleeve tops. Not only that, but when you do this, you might go, I have 10 red t-shirts, and red's not even my favorite color. So what do you do at that point? Let it go. So I've given you some of the things that I've studied. I've given you some of the things that I've created over years of doing this. I'm going to give you some expert advice. Most professional organizers and declutterers use the box method. So if you're going to start on a project, keep the things that don't belong in that room, put it in there, or you know you want to keep it, okay? And don't spend a lot of time on this. If it's not the keep box, you want to donate it or sell it. If that's not the box, recycle. If it's truly trash, let it go. You know, sometimes your friend, he had truly trash. Let it go. And then there's this other one, I call it the agony box. But guess what? That's going to become a gift, because I don't want you to spend a lot of time on any one item. If it doesn't fit in one of those other boxes right away, put it in the agony box. Then, when you finish that project, you tape the box up and you go put it wherever you want to. You go to your calendar about 2, maybe 3 months out, and you put on there, check the agony box. Now, if you get to the calendar and it says check the agony box day, and you haven't been to the agony box, you can now let that box go. It's already packed and ready to go. If you've been in the agony box, that's still okay. If there's still stuff in it, that's the stuff that needs to go. So what are the advantages of decluttering? It's one of the most effective self-improvement tactics that you have available to you right here now, or when we finish, okay, that 15-minute. You can improve. Everything that you release to another owner creates space in your life for new insights, new experiences, new energy, and joy. Oh, the joy, the joy, the joy. Plus, decluttering isn't just about letting go. It's also an opportunity to pass it on to those who need it. You know, maybe one of your other filters could be want and need, and see which pile's bigger. Also, this is a quote I really, really like. It's unknown, the author, but it says, if you keep something that you're not using, then no one else can use it either. Now, I was helping my mom a couple of years ago clean out some upper shelves in a closet. And there was this gift that her friend had given her. This was a dear friend. And this friend had passed on. Oh, my friend gave me that. Okay. Where would you like to proudly display it in your home? Because it's up here in the box, way up on the top shelf. Oh, okay, no. I said, so I can put it back on the shelf. But I said, that doesn't honor your friend, and that gift doesn't represent your friend. I said, when she gave it to you, you still have that vision in your heart and in your mind, that exchange. So, I am going to tell you before we get to the solutions, I did move cross-country. I purged 90 to 95% of everything that I owned. I have to tell you, it was one of the most freeing experiences I've ever done for myself. You can empower yourself starting tonight to go on that journey. You do not have to move cross-country. You do not have to move across the street. All you have to do is get up and move. So some solutions, you can declutter for a cause. These are some Louisville charities that I've looked up. Here's the websites below. These are not active links when you get on the PowerPoint presentation. If you'll just cut and paste those, it'll take you right to those charities. They all do good in our community. Do your part, do good, and let it go. Paper. Oh, we thought when the computers came along, no more paper clutter. I don't know if anybody can attest that that has happened. There are some important papers that we need to keep forever, okay? But there are a lot of papers that we only need to keep for a little while. I'm going to tell on myself here. Every year when I get my taxes done, tax preparer puts it in an envelope, and I had this box. I was organized, and I went and I slid that year's tax returns in front of last year's. Well, I'd been doing that for a while, and I said, you know what, I'm going to visit this box. 23 years of tax returns were in that box. I knew I could let it go. I only keep 7 to 10 years. Okay, that's a little thing, but I still remember it. It still has an impact on me. Can I share your example? Elita heard this presentation when I gave it somewhere else, and she took the 15-minute challenge, and she decided to tidy up her bathroom countertop. Told you it doesn't have to be big. She told me tonight it's still tidy. She also told me when her husband saw her doing it, he was like, what are you doing? She shared the experience with him, and he goes, I want to do that too. You can go home tonight with a friend, a partner, whatever. You can duplicate this by more than one. But I will tell you, the brain is... Okay, I missed that.
You're in the front. Yeah, we can see you. You sit up there.
Okay, sorry.
I think Phil, my husband just wanted to do, because I was getting things that worked for me, to put things in that I thought was cute, and, got my little bracelets on there that says, hello, beautiful, just things that was inspiring to me. I made it my own. And so he was like, well, I'm going to manly up my side too, and get me some, stuff. I'm like, okay.
I call it accountability. You may call it competition. It's okay. I will tell you, though, that our brains are set up on a work and reward system. I've helped people, and I've done this in my own home. We clean up an area. It could just be one countertop. But I tell you what, I cannot tell you the number of times you're going to walk past that. You're going to stop for a moment. You're going to take in what you did. No matter how you measure it, big, small, medium, you're going to take it in. Literally, your brain does release feel-good endorphins. All right. Told you about some professional organizers. These are definitely not all of them, but this is a wide range. We've got Peter Walsh, and he's got a multitude of books. We've got Julie Morgenstern, Organizing from the Inside Out. Elita went and bought that after she saw this last time. If you really want to get in, you can do a declutter all the way into the feng shui method. And yes, I've read the book, but I can't give you a whole lot of insight into that because my brain's cluttered with some other stuff since I read it. And then a lot of you have probably heard of Marie Kondo. She has a show on one of the cable channels, and hers was, Does It Bring You Joy? Now, when I told you earlier that most professional organizers use the box method, Marie has a different method. I don't really go into detail in it. I'm happy to share with you it's all of one category. So this would be huge. It would be a really, really big elephant in the room, but you could take all of your clothes and you put them on the bed. Everything, socks, everything out of the closets. Good way to let go of a lot of that stuff. But you hold an item up one at a time. You get distracted if you try to just dig in. It's really about focus. And then you ask yourself, does it bring you joy? And that's her methodology. If that works for you, That's another one, but primarily the box method is what works best. I'm going to back up a little bit. I got to tell you about a really good example. I had a friend. I said, I'm going to come over and help you. She has 4 closets, 4 walk-in closets, and they're by seasons. And so I said, pick a season. She said, this is the closet I want to work in. I thought I had a lot of stuff until I saw her closet. And this is not a judgment again. And she allowed me to tell this story because you don't know who she is. But we pulled all the shoes out. And it made a stack about like this, a big pile, 150 pairs of shoes and boots. This was her winter closet. And she said, stop. And I said, what? She said, I'm overwhelmed. That was her elephant. I said, all right, make the elephant your friend. What do we have to do? We separated them by color. Your black, your brown, your pink, your yellow, whatever. Then we took the black pile, each pile, and separated it by style of shoe. At that point, she could see she had 9 pair of black flats. Does she wear flats very often? Maybe, maybe not. If that's her thing, then there are some other shoes that probably need to go. Every time that she said yes to letting go of something, I was right there with a trash bag. It wasn't trash. We were getting ready to go donate. Put those. I didn't want her to think about it. It's a quick decision. She said yes, let it go. Every time she did, I said, put a little tally mark on a piece of paper. We went through most of that closet. We didn't get to all of it. We went through most of that closet, and at the end of the day, I took the tally sheet and tallied up the numbers. She had 150 pair of shoes when we started. And I just said, guess how many you think you let go of? Because she was holding on tight for a while. And I don't force people, you know, that's not my game. But I said, well, that's a really, really good guess. I said, but you let go. She said 30 to 40 pairs, what she thought. I said, you let go of 70 pair of shoes today. We don't realize how much stuff we have. So the counting is not to belittle you, it's to show you the success and how you furthered yourself. These are their websites of the books that were just shown. This is Peter Walsh. I love this one. I think it kind of wraps things up. It says, when you're looking at what to bring into your home or what to hold on to, there's only one question you should ask. Will this item help me to create the life and the home that I want? Or, here's my whole presentation in one slide. I mean, it pretty much is. You can't see it, but when you get the presentation and you look at it, you're going to go down these different paths and go, oh, that's when Jan said that. I didn't create this. I found it, and it was perfect. I did a lot of reading. This is just an assortment of the articles that I read. There's links to, if you're so inclined. If you're not a reader, you might like TED Talks. If you're not familiar with TED Talks, they're anywhere from about a 10, some of them have gone over to 20 minutes, but they were supposed to average out around 15 to 18 minutes. And they're professionals or people who have excelled at something. They get on a stage and they make a presentation to a group. Google TED Talks. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. But there are different methodologies that people have used. The numbers thing. Some people say, I'm only going to keep 1,000 items, or I'm going to let go of 300 items. You can make this whatever you want it to be. I was trying to see. So here are some opportunities to further strengthen and reinforce what we're talking about tonight. So you can, it's a take with. Let it go. I know you can do it. Now questions? Do we have time for questions?
Yeah.
All right. Any questions, comments, suggestions? Yes, Pastor Ken.
I have a why question, and why is he on six different networks?
Well, I'm glad we have a topic of conversation now when you go home tonight. Okay. Yes,
We had a
Ann?
marriage conference a couple weeks ago. It's on the podcast if you want to check it out. Anybody?
I love the part about let it go and buy some more.
Don't we all? But it's the biggest thing is one of the things you can do is get your home, your space, your car, wherever it is, get it to where you truly enjoy it. And then if you decide you want something new and it's going to be in that area, one thing goes out.
And usually when I buy a pair of shoes, I get rid of a pair of shoes.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Or two.
Yes.
This isn't a question, it's just kind of a statement, just what you were talking about when you were helping your mother go through some of her things. As, you know, maybe the middle age, maybe you're not, you've got parents that are still up there, but just think about your own kids. Do declutter for them, because just helping my mother go through getting rid of my dad's stuff. My dad was a organized hoarder. I mean, he saved, we found balls of rubber bands that he might need one day, but
He couldn't find them.
but they were dry rotted.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's like you couldn't even use them if you wanted, but jars of nails, every type of nail and screw. I mean, everything was organized, but it was thousands of stuff. So, you know, do it for your kids, so they don't have to go through that.
Elita.
I was just gonna say, I remember you doing the other presentation, and you talked about getting rid of stuff, or maybe people that given you something, like gifted you a gift, and then you said, you gave an example about somebody didn't want to get rid of it, or somebody that passed away, but you said you could take pictures of
Thank
it.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a friend. She had her grandmother's china. Her daughter grew up, moved out into her own home, and so she thought, oh, I'm going to gift grandma's china to my daughter. Guess what? Her daughter didn't want it. And so here's what I said to her. I said, you should be so proud of your daughter because she honors what she will allow to come into her home. And I said, you're the one that's, and not accusatory, but I said, you have memories tied up in that china. She doesn't. So I said, all right, you're not using the china. You were ready to let it go. So I said, take the china, set the most exquisite table you've ever set. Take a picture of it, or have the family over and get lots of pictures. Go back, put those pictures in a life book, also known as a scrapbook. It takes up a lot less space than all that china. And the other piece is, we think we cannot break up a set of something. I'm here to tell you today, yes, you can. I told her she could take a cup and a saucer and put it in a little display stand and put it somewhere that every time she passed it, everything about Grandma came back to her. And just let the rest of the china go. She didn't need to hold on to the whole set. Just keep enough of a memento. Thank you for bringing that up. I know I skipped over some things. I have a lot of examples. Yes.
I'll sort of make a little comment about the email situation. Something that I get a lot of emails from a lot of places. I created an account for just spam emails. Like when you sign up for something and they send you 100 different emails and advertisements. And that has helped me a lot filter my email by setting up, just a spam account.
Do you go out and clean? Do you go and clean out the spam? Do you delete?
No, it's just whatever, like a generic email that I give them, because I know they're going to send me 1,000 advertisements. It's nothing that I'm really going to check.
Okay. You can use that methodology. I created a lot of folders in my email because I wanted to get my inbox down. Then I go and I look at the folders, if it's a weekly newsletter that I'm getting, and I look over in that folder and there's 50 of them unread. I'm like, maybe I need to unsubscribe for a while until I catch up. So sometimes that's another way of letting it go. Hit the unsubscribe button. Not only that, so much of what I go back when I'm purging some of my folders, that information is obsolete. So you may think it's small, it's in the cloud, but it's over your head. In my case, my stuff was in the basement and it pulled my energy down. Could be in your attic. I'm telling you, it's weighing on you. Yes, ma'am.
Where did you say we could find the slide presentation? What did you say?
We are going to post it at mynextlevellife.com, And we are also going to begin to send some emails to everyone. Most of you, we should have your emails in our system, and because Nashan wanted to follow up with some vision boarding things as well. So we're going to make sure that happens. This deck will be posted in the by Friday? Okay, by Friday, this will be available.
Please enjoy it. Go back. Whatever spoke to you tonight, make that your goal for the day, for the week, whatever, and then repeat it. Remember, go for the small wins. Can I tell one more story? Okay, I had a friend. I'm sorry, I got a lot of them. She couldn't park her car in the garage. She was one of the 25% of Americans. And so she went out one day and she cleared out just a little bit. She got rid of a couple of things. And so she could actually see some floor. So I said, you go get you some blue painter's tape or the white masking tape. But I said, you tape an outline to the perimeter of the space that you cleared. You declare that nothing can go back in that space. Then you go back and you go, oh, well, once again, it's like the 30-minute sitcom thing. Oh, can I do another foot out? And eventually, you regain your garage, your space, your peace of mind, whatever it is. Any other questions? I want to thank you all. You've been an incredible audience. I've been so looking forward to coming here to do this presentation, to see some familiar faces, and to meet some wonderful new people. So thank you very much for allowing me.
Go back to her slide if we can. I don't know if we can or not. There we go. There's her email, her cell phone, or work number. I don't know which it is. Cell.
It's my personal cell.
Okay. That's a way to take a picture of it there if you need that. It'll be on the deck as well, I'm quite sure. And also, Donna, before I get started, I want to go to point number 3. If you could help me get to that, that would be great. Just out of curiosity, let's do an email count. Anybody want to share how many emails you got? I'll start.
Okay.
No, all right.
I used to have over 10,000.
Okay.
And I got it down to 4,000 but I've been going through all of my email and deleting a lot of stuff that I know that I'm not gonna do.
Good.
So that's been helping me. That's been a test I do every day, is to get rid of it.
6,400.
Ooh, is that the unread or all?
1,800? 20.
Woo! That's awesome. Yeah, we should clap for that. That's amazing.
12,018.
Okay, because you got me beat.
Come on, D.
He just wanted to.
Ken's like, I'm not playing. Yes, sir. 23,000. But you're a Vietnam vet. You can do whatever you want. So, what's that? Yeah, maybe next week. So, yes, Jerry. 0. You're the winner. You're the winner. So, do you understand? Everybody need to stretch for a minute. Let's stand up for 30 seconds. Stretch a little bit. We got about 30 minutes left. All right. There we go. Stretch. All right. All right. Let's be seated. And I want to, are you understanding why, when you want to live at the next level, you want to live like nobody else? And Dave Ramsey says you want to do that now so that when you're older you can live like nobody else. And not everybody does what we're talking about having an ordered life. But when your thinking is stretched, and how many of you feel stretched tonight already? You're being stretched. And some of you are thinking, this is overwhelming. I don't know if I can do this. This is not easy. You didn't come to this class to hear everything that was going to be easy. You came to this class to learn how to be stretched and how to be pulled on and how to do some things different than what you've done before. Because if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got. And I don't want to always get what I always got. And so let me just add just a couple of things very similar to what she shared, and then I've decided to switch this up a little bit and come back to some things that I think are going to help you even understand this at a whole nother level. So she covered a lot of this too that I had written down, but these keys to bringing order, I want you to have order in your life. Next level people have order, not just in how we declutter, but in how we order our day. Part of the book I recommended to some of you, Commanding Your Morning, it talks about you got to order your day. Don't wait around for your day to tell you how it's going. When you get up, you got to tell your day how it's going. You got to order that. And the way you do that is, number one, you just make a list. You just make a list. What do you have to do today? Now, when I say that, it's not just a to-do list. It is, but it's reminders, it's things that you got to do. And I get that a lot of that can be done electronically, and that's fine. But you got to keep it in one place. How many of you, and maybe you don't do this as much anymore, but there's sticky notes all over your desk, all over your kitchen counter, all over your refrigerator, reminding you to do things. And that doesn't work. Several years ago, I went, and 90% of what I do is in this book. And they're trying to get me to go to do this electronically and write it on these electronic pads that you then email to a file, right off of the pad, and then you print it out. I ain't going to do it because this works for me. You just got to find what works for you. What isn't working is 92 sticky notes. That's disorder. It doesn't work, and it wears you out. And I'm going to share some of that whole process, but keep it in one place. Keep one calendar. You say, well, what do you mean? At least keep one calendar in one place. Now, I'm just sharing what I do, and then I'm going to get into some other things. I do keep my calendar electronically because now I have about 5 different calendars that I have to have them, and I can't. I did manual calendars long after it was out of vogue, out of style. I was carrying, they were laughing at me going, you still carry a day timer? Yes. Some of you young people are like, what's a day timer? What's a Franklin planner? Don't even, and finally I did go, but you can merge them all into one on your phone. They all show up, and I need to see all the different things, because if somebody from one group needs me to meet, I need to be able to see, well, maybe there's something on the church calendar that I can't do this because it's already there. And they'll color code, they'll do all that cool stuff, and it's right there. So that is something that I do electronically, but it all comes down to one calendar. And I think if you're going to live an ordered life, you got to have that. It just, in today's world, it doesn't work. This is key. You're going to have to unplug distractions. You got to unplug the things that are distracting you. If you want to have order, it can be the electronics that are distracting you. It can, if you're going to accomplish things. I liked her idea. If you are watching TV, do something while you're doing it. Do that whole routine. But I don't know if you feel the need to do this. I fight this. When you first wake up in the morning, are you grabbing your phone? I got to see what happened overnight. You'll find out soon enough. Well, I don't know if the world ended. You'll find out. If Jesus came back and you're still here, you're going to have to figure that out, I'm just saying, You know, so, you know, because it's engaging your mind. You're trying to engage before the day has even started, and that may not be necessary to do that. We have too many distractions. Like she said, we're not meant, our brain isn't meant to focus on all those different things, and then sometimes you're focusing on so much you don't accomplish anything. You have that paralysis analysis that you're trying to do too many things and you get nothing done. And it's because you're checking this and you're looking at that and you've got a computer screen, and sometimes it's just too much. And you're going to have to train your brain not to do those things. ADD, attention deficit disorder, it's sometimes because we got too many things going and I can't focus on any one thing. And that's not good. Recognize the interruptions. You got to recognize what is causing you to be unproductive. A few years ago, I was going and I was getting some training, and I was learning how to better order my day and plan my day. And one of the things I did for weeks was I was encouraged, and the trainer told me, you need to list everything that happens during your day and how long it took you. And so every meeting, every time something happened, I wrote it down. I kept a journal, and okay, I was studying, and that went for 20 minutes, and then somebody came in my office and they plopped down and they say, hey, you got a second? Well, nobody means a second, right? But I was allowing that to happen. And they would plop down in my office, and 45 minutes later, I helped them, but nothing I was planning to get done got done, right? And then they left, and who was frustrated? I was. And they said, write it down. And so through that process, they said, you're going to take control back of your day. If you don't plan your schedule, someone else will. Come on, right? You got to recognize interruptions that are happening in your life. And why is that happening? These are great. These are great tools. They're also great interrupters. And like she said, the LOLs, the cat on the skateboard, all of that stuff, just, I'm telling you, we're giving our life to stuff that doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Your life was fine without some of this ability. I mean, yeah, it helped, but you know what? We did business in 1984 without these. We did. People made money before these were ever invented. So, you know, you got to prioritize. Once you get that list, you got to prioritize it. You got to have what is most important. And maybe it's one thing, and count that as a win. And it's one thing. If I get this done today, this morning there were a couple of things that I thought, if I can at least get this done. And so I got up, I didn't have distractions around me, and I was able to get one project 98% completed that had been sitting on my desk for several weeks. And so you got to prioritize those things and make those things happen. And when you do that, it'll start to help you. And then she said this as well, you got to start. Starting is better than not starting. Well, I didn't get a lot done, but did you do something? Did you accomplish at least the A item on your list, the number one priority that is there? And you've got to at least start. I'm going to talk a minute about procrastination. In fact, it is the killer of dreams. And we procrastinate because we have our priorities out of line. Social media is not your priority unless you're monetizing it, unless you figured out a way, and we're going to talk about that in our 5th week, that unless you figured out how to do it, it's costing you a lot. Not just financially, it's costing you mentally, emotionally, in those things. But you got to start. Don't let procrastination be a part of your life. So let's go back, if we could, to the first point, Donald. And in fact, can we go to that quote? Can you go to that quote that I had? Benjamin Franklin said in Old English, "Dost thou love life? then do not squander time, for that is the stuff life is made of. Don't squander time. Time, a lot of people say, I just don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to get it all done. The one thing that people who live life at the next level know is that they can always lose money and get it back. They cannot lose time and get it back. It is the one thing that makes us all equal. Nobody has more time than anybody else. It's how you spend it. From the chief executive of the largest corporation in the world, Jeff Bezos, worth what? Billion, 60 billion? No, maybe more than that. Whatever, it's a big number, right? He has 24 hours every day. You know how much time I have every day? 24 hours. It's how we spend it. It's what are we doing with it. And I'm telling you, next level people are paying attention to time. They're paying attention to what they're doing with those hours. And if you got to write down and then go back, I know some of you don't want to do this because you're afraid of what it's going to look like, and look at how many hours in that day did I really waste. I wasted it at the, chit-chatting with the, about this. I had this conversation, and those are good. I'm not saying, but when we bring order to our life and we accomplish what needs to be done, it actually opens the door to be able to do the other things that happen. So why creating order in our life is important. And this is why I wanted Jan to be here tonight, because this is going to open up other opportunities for your life. So why do we do it? Well, number one, it reduces stress and anxiety. I got in the car to drive over. Lisa had driven our SUV some today, and there's a program she likes to listen to. Well, this particular programmer does a show every day, and it's entitled Getting Rid of Stress and Anxiety. Every day. When you got a lot of disorder in your life, when you're always oversleeping, when you're never anywhere on time, when things are always chaotic around you, you don't have any peace. It's tough when you're always trying to get out the door and throw the kids in the car and rushing again and, trying to get somewhere. And some of that you can back up, and it might just be there's just not enough order in your life. What I'm trying to teach you in this class is you may not, I'm always late. Well, you don't have a late problem, you have a system problem. Your system of when you get up is broken. Well, I don't know about, well, then what's your better answer? Craig Rochelle taught this a lot, the pastor of Life Church and one of the great leadership teachers in the country, taught that we don't have marriage problems, we have system problems. If I can fix my system, the reward of that will be I'm fixing my life. Next week we're going to talk about some of those kind of things, and you say, well, I just have if you're in sales, I just have a sales problem. I don't have enough sales. No, you have a system problem. You're not making enough calls. Well, I made 5. Well, you might need to make 50. It depends. Well, I want to make 6 figures. I want to make 200,000. I want to make 300,000. Okay, well, how many calls is it going to make? Well, I made 4, and nobody wanted to talk to me. You don't have a sales problem. You got a system problem. It's a numbers game. You just got to go meet more people that want what you have. Somebody out there wants what you have. Well, the first 5 didn't. You got to go to the next 5. And then the next 5, and the next 5. You got to keep doing that. And when you begin to understand that there are things you can do in your life, and having order will reduce your stress and your anxiety. Does that make any sense? It improves our mental and physical strength. It'll help you emotionally. I meant to bring the book with me tonight that was written by the the head of the Navy SEALs, and it was based on a speech that he gave some time ago to a graduating class, I believe in Texas, might have been Texas A&M, and the speech was "Make your bed." Anybody read that? Go look it up. Make your bed. First thing every day, get up and make your bed. Why? Because it'll improve your mental outlook. I took a few seconds, I made my bed, I have accomplished one thing. After only being up 5 minutes, I did one thing. And then you go and you're like, man, that's good. You know, hey, some of you feel good just getting out of bed and getting to the coffee pot, right? I get it. But we're shifting our thinking. We're shifting our thinking about these things. It'll improve your mental and physical strength. It will allow us, when we have an ordered life, it'll allow us to avoid those distractions. There are some things that are just not worth giving my time to anymore. I have decided, I'm going to say that again in a minute, there's some things I've just decided, I'm not watching that, I'm not doing that, because it doesn't get me where I want to be in life. It's not helping me in those things. And distractions can come in all sorts of ways, and you gotta be aware of it. But when you have order, like she said, you know, having that path through her basement, man, that'll wear you out. You know, having to look at it. Some of you don't open closets because it just wears you out just to look at it. Right? You got to avoid distractions. When we have order, we're able to have time for family and friends. Even though it takes a little bit of time to start getting this in order, when we do these things, it'll start allowing us to have the time that we want. That's what I'm saying, that yes, family time's important. Time with friends is important. And I'm not saying we don't do that, but I'm saying when you get order in your life and you haven't wasted time doing all this other, it opens the door to be able to, now I've done this, I've gotten those tasks done, it frees up my night. I don't have to stay home and organize everything because I did that in the middle of the day or did that right after work, so that now it's done and it has freed me up to go have that time with friends. I didn't spend the time watching TV or scrolling through Facebook because I got my project done. Now I can go be with friends instead of doing the other. Am I making sense? It's all prioritized. It's all priority. We can actually create time for recreation. You know, I love to play golf, but sometimes golf is a 6-hour project. For me, sometimes it's an 8-hour project because I hit the ball a lot out there. And so sometimes, you know, but if I've had an ordered week and I've gotten done, I can go do that and enjoy it and not think about everything I haven't gotten done. So you see, when you're always thinking about something else, you can't enjoy the present. And an ordered life will help you enjoy the present moment. Instead of, one of the reasons why I don't go to very many movies is because I can think about 30 things I would rather be doing with that time that I need to do. But if I had them ordered and I had already accomplished, maybe I could go and enjoy taking a few hours of my time to do that. So it allows you time and creates that space for recreation. It's an increase in productivity. It's not less, it's actually more. That you are more productive in an environment that is organized. I've been working. Last year we did a remodel of our admin building, and I just never found what I wanted in my office. And it was a struggle, and my office was not very orderly, and it still got a few issues. But I finally told Lisa about 2 weeks ago, I said, I can't do this anymore. I can't walk in there and look at the bare walls and all of that. So we went out and we purchased a couple of pictures and things and finally got some ideas. But I know that I'm more productive in an office that is conducive to that environment and having that order. That's why it is that important that you do those things. Is this making sense? So those are some other thoughts. Ephesians 5 says this: we need to redeem the time because the days are evil. You got to redeem time. You got to give your life. I spoke a couple of weeks ago on everything in the light of eternity. How much time we waste in the light of eternity. Of what could we really do? And how should we really be doing these things? We got to redeem time. It's the one thing you cannot get back like that. So, here's what I've said. You've got to make a decision to change the system in your life that has caused you disorder. You got to make a decision. I believe, in fact, I've done a lot of teaching on how to make quality decisions, but everything that you want to have happen in your life begins with a decision. Begins with a decision. I'm going to change. I'm going to change. I'm not satisfied with the way things are. When you put it over in a Christian concept, I am inspirationally dissatisfied. I don't like this area of my life. So I am inspired to go and change the thing that I'm not satisfied with. People say, well, didn't Paul say in all things be content? I'm content, but I'm not satisfied. I'm content. I'm just not satisfied with the status quo. I'm not satisfied with things that it might be, she mentioned losing weight. You might want your physique to change. You might want this. You might want finances to be better. You might health to be better. All of those things, it all begins with a decision. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to achieve something in my career. And that decision to change my system of how I fundamentally do things. Is this too deep? You got to, and that comes out of your thought process. That's why, again, the first week we said you've got to change the way you think about these things. It's a stretch. It's an enlargement of your territory. It's realizing that you have the same amount of time as the billionaires. You've got your mental capacity. Jabez said, Lord, enlarge the place of my territory. To see my territory expand, whatever that means to you. Your mental capacity to understand and to be stretched and not be satisfied with the status quo. Well, that's all, this is all there is. No, when your mind is thinking at the next level, it starts to expand and you begin to have those priorities. Here's a question when you're deciding to change the system of your life. What am I giving up to be distracted? What is my distraction costing me? Because you exchange one event for another. If you are giving when I play golf, I am giving that time and I am giving up something else. Now, maybe I'm making up for it, but if I'm playing golf, I'm not spending time with my wife. Now, maybe I'm going to make up for that by taking her out to dinner later on, but there is an exchange. When you binge watch, I'm not dissing anything. I've done it. I'm not judgment-free zone. I've done it. I still do it. But I recognize I'm going to teach you next week about the law of recognition. I recognize I'm sacrificing something by doing that. I'm sacrificing that I could read a book about being a better husband. I could, but I chose that Netflix would be more entertaining. Come on. I'm not, this isn't, I mean, hey, this is, I can just talk all about me, you know, and make it all, you know, because I've done this. That when I choose that I'm going to allow myself to be distracted in those areas, what am I sacrificing? Did we read something that made our marriage better? Our relationships better? Just to be a better person? What did I not do? Could I have written down my goals? Could I have seen how I'm doing with them? Could you ladies brought your vision board? If y'all are willing to stay after and share it a little bit with folks, I don't, you know, if you brought it, and you know what they did? They decided not to do something else, and they decided to work on their vision boards. And by working on their vision boards, they gave up something else. Maybe it was Netflix. Maybe it was something else. What are you're sacrificing something by what you're doing. Maybe your prayer time. Our prayer leader's back here. Maybe our prayer time. We're sacrificing that. But hey, I can tell you, what the top 25 did last night in college basketball, right? Which I would give away all my red t-shirts as well. But, oh, come on. Come on. So, I know, every time. I know. I graduated from there. Give me, So, but we're always sacrificing one thing for another. We're investing. If we're spending time here, we're not spending it over here. It's just a fact. And when we recognize that and we go, okay, I'm okay with that, then at least you made the decision knowing I might waste 3 hours of my night. Okay. At least you go into it, and then you've made the decision. You can't be mad at yourself at 11 o'clock going, golly, that was a waste of time. No, I consciously made that decision to do that, and I'm willing to sacrifice what it means on this end. And just it doesn't matter if you like it or not. It's just truth. It's just what happens to us. Is that making any sense? So we're exchanging and sacrificing things when we give ourselves to one thing. That's why when you learn the power of no, you don't have to. I read a book some time ago that said, when you find your no, you find your yes. When you find your no, you find your yes. When I say no to the average so that I can say yes to the excellent, my life begins to change. I don't have to do everything. And I lived a long time thinking I did. As pastor, I just thought I had to jump every time somebody needed something. Because I was their answer. I was their salvation. I mean, I'm the pastor. No, I'm not. My job is not to be your answer. My job is to point you to your answer. Does that make sense? But you see, you can get in that mode of, I always got to help family. I mean, family called, and family will take advantage of you. I did a whole teaching about setting boundaries in your life, putting that perimeter around your life, and how upset people will be when you start setting those gates and boundaries around your life. And everybody that used to call on you, and you're like, you know what, I'm sorry, I can't loan you any more money. What? You always did. Yeah, I know, but I'm putting boundaries around my life. Why? Because you got to have peace. If you don't help yourself, if you are not fit, if you are not in the right mental state, you're not going to be able to help anybody. So you got to help yourself. And I don't mean that like, we're selfish. It's actually the opposite. I'm making sure I'm okay so I can turn around and help others. Is that all right? So you got to change systems. You got to be willing to do that. And then if you could move me to the fourth point there. The fourth thing that I want to just make sure you understand, discipline is greater than motivation. I don't want this class to just be motivation. I don't want you to go, oh yeah, I don't even want, she's given us some great tips, but I don't want you to just be motivated to go do it. I want you to be disciplined. Because discipline will beat motivation every single time. Because when I was in sales, there were days that I didn't feel like going out and selling anything. I was tired. I didn't want to hear no. I didn't want to go deal with everybody. I was just tired. It's not what I wanted to do. But I was disciplined to say, because my vision board said I got to take care of my family. So I don't feel motivated to do it, but I do feel disciplined to do it. And I get up and I go do it, and you have to do the same thing. And if you're, depending on what's on your vision board and what it is that you are really setting out. And it doesn't have to be about a home or a trip or anything. You just want a better marriage. You just want a better relationship. You just want these things to be better. So what am I then going to be disciplined to do? Not motivated, but I'm going to go learn this. I'm going to learn a skill. I'm going to learn something different. I've said this, probably many of you. I'd like to learn a second language. You know, the problem is I'm just not disciplined. Because other things have taken the priority over that. But if that's really your passion, then you won't feel motivated some days to do it. You'll be disciplined to do it. It's how you got through school. It's how you got through college or grad school or whatever you did. It's what you did to say, you know what, I'm being disciplined to be able to do this. You learn that ability to say no. Let me read this last thing to you and we'll be done. This was out of Commanding Your Morning that, again, I shared with you maybe a couple of weeks ago. It says, look at Noah, Joseph, Moses, and David. All were men of honor and order. They were disciplined and dedicated, and they submitted themselves to God's command. They understood the power of a divine hierarchy and authority. They followed orders. Order is a condition in which freedom from disorder or disruption is maintained through structures, systems, and protocols. You got to fix the system of your life. Wherever there is a lack of order or command chain, whenever protocol is not present, whenever a code of conduct is not perceived or understood, it brings about emptiness, lack of purpose, and meaning. If your life is characterized by confusion, conflict, frustration, lack of direction, meaning, insight, it's an indication you are deficient in the area of order. Because order will restore back those things. Until you decide, what I just taught you, to reverse the perpetual cycle of disorder, you will continue to experience cycles of defeat and failure. This principle is illustrated by the law of entropy, the tendency of energy to dissipate and go from a state of order to a state of disorder. How many of you know that's true? If you don't deal with it, your garage will go from being orderly to being disorderly. So will the garage of your life if you don't pay attention. And nobody, I said this week one, nobody is coming to rescue you. You got to do it yourself. You've got to figure this out. We all do. Unless you intentionally harness time and energy, unless you command it with the authority you've been given, your life will dissolve into chaos. And you'll never experience significance and fruitfulness that God has prepared for you. Don't just let things happen, make things happen. When you get that, that's good, isn't it? Go back and read it. It's in your book that I told you to get. Download it tonight. Get it. Read it. Pay attention to it. And I'm telling you, your life is about to come to a higher level. Has this helped you tonight? All right? Has this been all right?
I trust this teaching from Next Level Life has helped you, as our goal is to encourage you to pursue your dreams, your goals, your passions, and how am I going to live life at that next level. So I hope you enjoyed it. Join us next week again as we share some more thoughts with you on how you are going to enjoy your next level. We'll see you next week.